All right, my next guest will be making her Bellator debut on August the 13th at Bellator 264, and of course it is Pam Bam Sorenson on the show. Pam, how are you?
I'm doing good today. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I appreciate you giving me some of your time here. I'm excited to see you make your Bellator debut. We were talking a little bit here before we went live, and it's long overdue. This is something I know the fans are really looking forward to. How has this camp been thus far? We're still what, a couple weeks out.
Yeah, a little under 3 weeks out. Camp's been going really good. We had a change of opponent kind of at just last week. But the goal is still the same, so it makes no difference.
What is that cut for you to 145? Is that pretty easy? What do you typically walk around at?
Um, well, I mean, with COVID, it was a little heavier than usual, but I would say normally, if I'm not going crazy, I would walk around like 165.
Okay,
So yeah, the cut's not too bad. I mean, I used to make 135, so 145 is usually pretty easy compared to that.
when you say you're not going crazy, I know for me, I got to stay away from pizza, otherwise I'll blow right up. What is your vice? Like, what is the foods that you have to just not look at during camp?
I'm a sugar person and I love like Sour Patch Kids, gummy bears. I like my candy.
Okay, yeah, I know that's definitely a popular choice for fighters. Now, you won the Invicta belt here. It was all the way back in what, 2019. You won the vacant belt over Caitlin Young, unanimous decision victory. How how much did that mean to you to win such a prestigious championship? You know, Invicta has been around for a while now, and that's a big deal. I mean, can you just kind of put into words what that meant to actually win the gold?
It meant a lot to me, not just because I mean, obviously, um, winning an Invicta title is a big deal, but that year, I had a big surgery and I wasn't sure I was going to be able to come back, so it meant even more for me to know that my career wasn't over.
Yeah, in the surgery you had an ovarian cyst, right? That's what it was. And the rehab and getting back from that was pretty extensive. Can you kind of dive into that a little bit and talk about everything you had to do to get back to where you're at now?
I tried not to remember that. But yeah, it was a really big one. It was about just about 3.5 pounds, I think. So it wasn't like one of those. I think a lot of people think of ovarian cysts as being like tiny, like a little grape. I was like, no, this is like bigger than a cantaloupe that was in there, and it was a big incision. They had to kind of cut through everything, like a very old school C-section, like right down the middle. And you don't realize how much you use your abs for everything until you can't use them. And it's like even getting out of a chair, going up the stairs, going for a walk. It was just 6 weeks where everything was really, really painful. And even when I was able to kind of start training again, I was like, I don't think I'm ever gonna be able to take a body shot again. But the our bodies are pretty resilient. They bounce back pretty quick, and I was pleasantly surprised with how everything kind of came together.
Oh, I'm glad you're feeling back to yourself now and you have this fight. I did want to ask you, how did you find that? Like, how did you know that this was what was going on? Because I got to imagine you must have been dealing with some sort of pain to bring you into the doctor's office for it.
Yeah, so I had it when I fought Felicia the previous year, but I mean I didn't know about it then. I just knew like there were certain things when we were doing wall work. I was like, "Ooh, this is really uncomfortable." But I mean, you have lots of organs in there too, so I was like, "Ah, it's probably just, things are getting squished, it's normal." But then it was just a couple weeks after I fought Felicia, I went to the ER because I thought that I had appendicitis or something. Like I was really really sick. I was in a lot of pain, and they did a scan and they came back and they're like, "Oh, you have a a very large growth in there that shouldn't be there."
That's must have been scary news to get. Did you get any, I guess, knowledge base as to like could that have affected your ability to perform when you fought Felicia? I mean, and maybe you didn't know it. Like, is that something that the physicians told you?
Um, that was one of the things I didn't really want to know, so I didn't ask because it was like everything that's in the past, it's already happened. I can't. I had imagined because I knew there was. training, there were certain positions we were working on the cage, most specifically, that I was like, God, this is just, it's really uncomfortable to train. And we ended up there a couple times in the fight, but it didn't bother me in the fight at all. But I can imagine it affected training a little bit.
What is the takeaway from that loss to Felicia? Obviously, she's a high level fighter herself. I mean, what can you, I guess, learn from that fight here to make yourself a better mixed martial artist moving forward?
Um, it wasn't even so much of anything that had to do with the fight itself. Um, I just kind of learned that you have to listen to your body. If something feels like it might be off or it might be wrong, it probably is. So just kind of moving forward, I just realized, if something feels off, you just go. It doesn't hurt to go get it checked out. It doesn't hurt to take a day off or a partial day off to see if it goes away or resolves on its own.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm very happy to hear that you're back to yourself. And man, it's been a long time since we've seen you compete again. That last win over Caitlin, 2019. How excited are you just to be back competing again and to be doing it in front of the fans?
Yeah, I am really excited. I did go and compete. I competed in the kickboxing world championships over in Bosnia after my fight with Caitlin. Um, so at least it's not two full years of no activity. But yeah, I'm just really excited. I miss that feeling, and especially going in there, with, like you said, with fans again. I'm excited.
And Bellator is clearly one of the top promotions on the planet. What is this contract for? Is it a 4 fight deal, 5 fight deal?
It's a 4 fight deal.
Okay. And Mohegan Sun, that's kind of like I guess, the new home for Bellator. That's where they're doing most of their events here. How excited are you to be coming here to Connecticut and New England for this fight?
I'm really excited. I will admit I tried when I heard that they were going to South Dakota the next weekend. I was like, hey, can I go to South Dakota instead? And because my parents live out there, it's really close to home. And they're like, no, we kind of want you to go to Mohegan Sun, but I've heard it's a really cool area. Even the locals like to go there because it's just interesting. So I'm excited to go there.
Yeah, and it really is. It's a great venue. The casino's fantastic. I go down there pretty frequently to cover these events, so we're excited to have you coming to the Mohegan for it. Now, you're obviously in Minnesota. Your gym is the Cellar. Tell me a little bit about, I guess, who your main training partners for this camp has been. Has it been anyone different, or has it been kind of like your main normal training partners that you usually have?
That's kind of my main normal training partners. Yeah, we didn't. I mean, we gained a couple new people. Um, got our wrestling coach is actually Cowboys wrestling coach. He's from Minnesota and he's been around a lot more, so he's been really helpful. But for the most part, it's just kind of the same as every other camp.
My main job, I work for a company where its headquarters is right in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I had to go there during the middle of the winter for a training fairly recently. It is cold. I'm from Maine, and I thought it got cold here. It gets brutally cold there. How do you deal with those temperatures in the wintertime?
I stay inside. I mean, and it's weird. Because nowadays I don't go out at all especially when the wind chill gets to 30 plus below. I just stay inside. But a lot of Minnesotans really embrace it, and you'll see them out there jogging, completely covered head to toe. You'll see them cross country skiing, snowmobiling. Um, but I mean, Minnesotans are pretty hardy.
What do you like to do in the summertime for fun? Do you get out, or do you go hiking? Are you like a beach girl? Like, what do you like to do for hobbies?
Um, no, I like going running. I like to go and kind of explore new trails and stuff around here. That's pretty much it. I'm not a big beach person. There's a lot of people there.
I did want to ask you just, with women's MMA growing at the rate it is, there's so many great fighters out there nowadays, and there's so many more, young females that are getting into the sport. When you look at, I guess, the pound for pound best fighter on the planet right now, there's a few names that come to mind. Amanda Nunes is probably at the top of the list. You got Cyborg, Kayla Harrison, yourself is right in there, Julia Budd. There's so many great fighters. Who do you feel like is the best women's fighter currently on the planet?
I mean, I guess I would have to go with, you know, actually, probably Valentina. Because if I think back to her second fight with Amanda Nunes, like, I thought she won that fight. And I'd say Valentina Shevchenko.
I love that pick. I think Shevchenko won the second fight with Nunes too, and I think a trilogy makes sense. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I would definitely pay to watch that.
Yeah, for sure. Sign me up. Well, let's talk about your fight, your Bellator debut. Roberta Samad. She's got a UD win in PFL, and she did lose to Julia Budd. A UD loss here for Bellator. When you look at this matchup here stylistically, what kind of a fight are you expecting come fight night?
I'm honestly not sure. I'm guessing that there's going to be a lot of striking involved. She seems to like to kind of clinch and try to bully people to the ground. But I'm not one to really be bullied, so I'm picturing more of a stand-up striking fight.
You also don't seem like the trash talking types, so I'm not gonna go down that road and ask you for how you feel like you're going to finish her or whatnot. But I assume you believe you're going to win. So when you do envision your hand being raised, do you think it's going to be a decision victory, or do you feel like you could catch her and knock her out or submit her?
I think she has some holes where hopefully I can take advantage and go for a finish. That's been kind of one of my goals now, getting back into things, is I want to not be quite so careful and start looking more for the finishes.
And I'm sure, winning the Bellator championship is what's on your mind. You get a win here in your debut, and it's an impressive one. How many fights away do you feel like you are from maybe being considered a title challenger?
Hopefully not too many. I'm hoping after this fight that maybe I can get matched up with one of the top 4 or 5 girls, and then kind of go from there, see how everybody else's fights shake out. But hopefully just a couple fights.
And what would you like that time frame to be? If you don't take any damage and you're healthy, are you trying to fight again very soon, or do you want to get a longer, full camp in? Like when do you think would be the best time frame for your second fight inside the promotion?
I've been to this camp. I've just been feeling really, really good. If I didn't take any like too much damage in this fight, I would want to get back in there right away because like everything's been going just so perfectly, and I don't want to mess that up. So I would rather get in there again sooner than later.
Very good. Well, again, Pam, I appreciate you giving me a few minutes of your day. I can't wait to watch you make your Bellator debut again, August the 13th, Bellator 264. Pam Bam Sorenson and Roberta Samad. Before I let you go, I want to give you the floor. Tell people where to follow you on social media, and if you have anyone to thank, the floor is yours.
You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Pam Bam Sorenson. As always, I'm really bad with the thank yous because I'm kind of a derp sometimes. But everybody over at the Cellar Gym, all my coaches, my training partners, my sponsors, they're all really awesome. Couldn't do it without them. So I have to thank all of them.